Hey, Grampian Nation, you know at the Grampian, we like disruptors, people who change the design, change the elements, change the world. And they disrupt stuff in a positive way. And you're going to meet one. His name is Joe, coming right up.
In 2013, I coined the name Grampian, and I gave it to your host, Jim Tracy.
And hey, Grampian Nation, we would love to welcome Joe Casabona to the show. Joe, you are the disruptor in chief. Welcome, man. How are you?
Hey, Jim, thanks for that. I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. I call you the disruptor in chief because we actually love people who change the dimensions, who change the argument, who change the impressions that people have. But you are the solopreneur of Good House Media. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so it has a storied past. I was a web developer for a long time, but today I help busy solopreneur parents streamline their business so they're not checking their email at the playground. And more concretely, I do that by helping them put better business systems in place to automate and delegate so they can spend their time on the most important parts of their business.
Yeah, which is really cool because the most important part of any business is the family behind it, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I suspect a lot of people are like me. They quit their full-time job to have more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't push the right buttons, then you're going to end up having less freedom. And when you have kids when I had kids, that didn't jive with me. I really wanted to be there for my kids.
All right. So let's go to the really important questions first. You're from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Eagles
Yes.
or Steelers? I mean, you're closer to the Eagles, so yeah, I gotta be careful here.
So this is a good. I'm glad that we're getting this out of the way early. I'm from New York originally.
Oh no.
Yes.
Giants or Jets?
I guess I could say sadly for either, but sadly the Giants.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
Yes.
You're probably not very popular in Philly then.
No, certainly not. Well, as of late, I've been very popular. I get a lot of, hey, thanks for Saquons. But yeah, usually I can't really wear my Eli Manning jersey out in public.
Yeah, be really careful with that. So, as I think about the way that we look at business in America, it's always been focused on the entrepreneur, which is by any definition someone who goes out and builds a business that begins to scale. And then, somewhere pre-COVID, we went to the intrapreneur or entrepreneurial person within a business, within the confines of a larger organization. But this new epically cool version of independence came out, and we call it a solopreneur. Tell us from your perspective what that looks like.
Yeah, well, I got to give credit to my friend Terry Lanier. She coined this term in the 90s, actually.
Oh, wow.
But you're right. This is a relatively new thing, right? Because I think a lot of the world learned that you could effectively work from home during COVID. Working from home is something that I have done full time since 2014.
Wow.
When I left my University of Scranton job and got a full-time remote job, which I come from the web development space. So I think a lot of us were early adopters in the work from home thing. But even before that, I was working out of my dorm room or my parents' house because I started my first business in high school. And so I was very used to working from home. But to answer your question, the solopreneur, it's a portmanteau of solo and entrepreneur, right? So it's someone who starts, I'm going to say, a small, scrappy business. They don't want to take on full-time employees. That doesn't mean they don't have contractors or other people they work with. It just means that we stay lean. And the appeal for me is that I can pivot more quickly. And honestly, I'm so worried about my family's livelihood. I'd hate to also have to worry about other people's livelihoods. especially if I want to pivot quickly. And so not having those full-time like W-2 employees allows me to stay small and flexible.
But small doesn't mean scalable, does it? I mean, you don't have, it's not mutually exclusive. You could actually
Yeah.
run a fairly sizable business.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I know lots of people who are doing that, right? Millions or multi-million dollar businesses as solopreneurs.
Uh-huh.
Or like maybe with one employee. But like I think that if you have the right offer and you delegate to the right team, again, now some people will hear this and be like, well, if you have a team, you're not a solopreneur. And like that's just not. I've asked my friend Terry about this. It is really
Yeah.
you don't have W-2 employees, right?
Okay.
Because I mean, if you think about even an organization with 10 people, right? If they want to completely change their niche, that is, that's turning a giant ship around in the middle of a storm in the middle of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if I decide, tomorrow, hey, I really feel that my calling is doing Y instead of X. I can. It's still tough. I've built an online persona, but
Boom.
I don't have other people relying on me and being like, hey, your job is going to dramatically change, and this isn't probably what you signed up for.
Yeah. Okay. So the team, as you would look at it, are typically contractors who are saying, hey, I don't need to report into the office. I just need you to do this thing. And
yeah.
So what are the largest solopreneurs you've encountered?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, I do contract work for my friend Justin Moore. He is he's a sponsorship coach, and he has a sizable business working with. I think it's all contractors. Perhaps there's one full-time employee there. Paul Jarvis famously wrote the book Company of One. So he's a solopreneur who has done very well for himself.
Yeah.
Justin Welsh is probably the name that everybody recognizes. He has the newsletter, The Saturday Solopreneur. And so, he, from what I can tell and from what he makes available, has a very successful business as a solopreneur.
And by successful, you mean pretty lucrative too, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interviewing Amanda Getz for my podcast soon. I'm not sure if she's a solopreneur, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but I think she is. I want to say she is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So in the classic sense, solopreneur is someone who's working alone on a mission that they define, but can pivot quickly on.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think it's for those of us who knew, I mean, I knew from a young age that I wouldn't be able to have a full-time job. Like not that I'm a very good worker. I think I question a lot of things.
Yeah.
And
I understand completely.
Yeah. And so, I think about a lot of things. I question a lot of things, and that makes me, in some circles, unemployable. And so I thought I'll build my own job and support my family,
man.
doing what yeah. I mean, my old, I've seen my dad's a boomer. And, I just see too many people in his generation, hate their jobs.
Yeah.
But they did it for the pension.
Yeah.
And I can't live like that.
Yeah.
I think I'm an elder millennial. I think a lot of millennials don't want to live like that. And thanks to the internet, and COVID to some extent, like we know we don't have to live like that.
Yeah, man, I fell in love with COVID. I got to go work from home and I never went back. And it was pretty awesome. But I have found myself now as kind of a bit questioning and perhaps unemployable. and interestingly enough, I kind of throw myself now in the same category. I've got some people rely on me, but I'm pretty darn close to a solopreneur. So I'm feeling like a younger boomer.
All right. Yeah.
or a really elder millennial. I don't know. Oh, my kids will die when they hear that. Oh, so the how is from home. It's classically you can have an office, you can have a studio, but it is kind of the how is from home, or the where is from home. What are some of the industries that you find alarmingly successful as a solopreneur?
Ooh, this is a really good question. I mean, web development is one, right? As long
Mhm.
as you have an internet connection, you can do your job
Yeah,
reasonably. I know a lot of digital nomads who are web developers, and this is probably because I'm from the web development space, but
sure.
um, coaching and consulting, right? If you've built your business on you helping one or many people,
Hmm.
you don't need to do that in an office. A lot of knowledge worker, a lot of knowledge worker industries, I think, really fit into this.
Yeah.
The place where oh, well, I shouldn't say that, right? Like, there's like the work remotely from anywhere, and then there's the work from home flexibility. So like online courses, YouTubers, podcasters
Hmm.
with the right environment. I put a lot of time and effort into my environment.
Yeah.
You probably cannot hear the children running around upstairs,
Yeah. Same
and that
here.
was very deliberate, right? I made sure I had a good setup for that.
Yeah.
And so I think like there's a lot of, if you work online, I think, and there's not a value on the, there's not as much of a value on the constant like hand greasing in person stuff,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
My friend is an insurance salesman, and his employees wanted to work from home, and he basically said no. And I get it, right? Because if you are selling B2B insurance, the people who are spending 5 figures on an insurance policy
Hmm.
want to know that you are a real person who exists and they can come see.
And
I get that.
available and touch the customer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of value to that.
Yeah.
My
For
work,
sure.
my work puts me in contact with people all over the world who I otherwise wouldn't be able to meet with in real life anyway.
Yeah.
And so I
No
try when
kidding,
we go
right?
to conferences or when I travel, if I know I'm going to be in the same area as somebody I know, I try to get together because I'm an extrovert and in person is really important to me. But
Yeah.
my business doesn't rely on it like some industries do.
All right. So now, say we're speaking to a bunch of solopreneurs out in the digital marketplace, and what are some of the things that are like as a systems architect, you specialize in helping people make stuff a little bit easier, a little bit more predictable, a little bit more systems driven by automation. What are some of the things that they can automate? So what could someone who's just starting out working from home as a solopreneur starting their own business? What's the simplest, easiest fix that you got? What's your life hack for a solo?
Yeah. I think the one of the most important things that I automate, and this is with the help of AI, it's evolved over the years, but
Hmm.
is my startup and shutdown routine. And so as a solopreneur who works from home, it could be hard to draw the lines and context switch, right? The nice thing about going to an office is you leave your house, you get in your car, or you walk or whatever, and then you go to your place of work. And then when you leave your place of work, you are not working anymore.
Yeah.
And even in the age of the internet, you could be like, oh, I left my work machine at home or whatever, right? Like I'm at
Yeah.
home. This is not where I work. When you work from home, I have a dedicated office now, but when I didn't, it was my bedroom or like
Hmm.
the spare room. And if I wanted a change of scenery, I would go in the dining room or something. And so I have tried to draw this line of when I leave my office, I am not at work. I also have a shed in the backyard where I go back and I work and I smoke cigars sometimes. But so the shutdown routine is really important to me, and I think that this is the root of the shutdown routine is capturing tasks. and ideas. So I'll be working, I'll look at the clock, or sometimes the lights in my office, depending if I'm working too late, the lights in my office will change a different color to be like, hey, shouldn't you go eat dinner?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh yeah. But if I don't unload my brain right now, I'll be thinking about work at the dinner table, and I don't want that. So I have an app, and I just kind of talk into it. I say word vomit. I just, whatever I'm thinking, it's a couple of minutes. It's everything I didn't get to or everything I'm thinking through. And then that will get sent to ChatGPT and summarized and transcribed.
Oh, wow.
And then ChatGPT will give me a list of tasks that it sends to Todoist, which is my task manager. And so I know that when I leave my office, I have said everything that I need to do the next morning. And that is, I think that's really important because it helps draw the boundary of, I am leaving work. I don't want to be thinking about work anymore.
Yeah. So often I think when you're working from a home environment, and I mean, even if you have an office at home, 9 to 5 turns into 5 till 9.
Mm-hmm.
And there are temptations. I've just got to get this done quick. I don't want to forget this, blah, blah, blah. And so what you're giving us by that hack, what's the app you use?
So the app I use on my phone is called Whisper Memos.
Memos.
Yes, it's an iPhone app. So you can use voice memos or whatever the voice dictation app on your phone is.
Uh-huh.
And then I have a Zapier automation that I send the transcript to.
Okay.
And so the cool thing about Whisper Memos is if you say a magic phrase, it knows to send this transcript to Zapier automatically.
Okay.
And then Zapier is where it does all the processing and sends it to Todoist. Now, I will say, if you use Todoist as your task manager, they are just rolling this out natively. It's in beta right now, but it's called Ramble, and it'll do exactly what I said. You just talk at it, and it'll make a task list.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very happy to have been Sherlocked, is the technical term. I'm very happy to have this native integration, we'll say, in my task manager.
Nice.
Soon, hopefully. Yeah.
So. Sweet deal. Okay. So how can more non-technical people, so when you talk to me, man, you're looking at a guy who's on Medicare, right? So when I say non-technical, I mean those old dudes who are wearing the snow on their face. And how do you get a guy like me to automate?
Yeah, this is a great question, right? Because again, I have my master's in software engineering. I hear a lot of, okay, Joe, that sounds great, but you understand all this stuff, right? Someone told me one time, when I automate, it's like I'm playing 9-dimensional chess, which is just the most dimensions I've heard in recent months. And so, yeah, when I talk to someone like you, or someone non-technical, right? Because I don't think technical prowess, there it is not an age thing, right? My wife is younger than me and is non-technical, I would say. And so, and
we have to edit this part of the show. No, man, you're gonna get you in trouble.
She knows. I have a very strict policy. Anything I say about my wife behind my back, I'll say to her face later, or I've already said it to her. And she would fully agree with that that sentiment. But for the non-technical people, I think the most important thing is, what tools are you already using, and how can we make using those tools easier? And so, do you have an iPhone or an Android phone?
I have an Android phone.
Okay, great. I don't use Android, so this is going to be a little harder for me.
All right, well, I'm moving to an unplugged phone, so it's probably not going to help anyway, but I do have a PC.
Wow. Yeah, all right. So I think quick capture doesn't have to be the thing I just said, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think quick capture is really a really simple way to automate.
Uh-huh.
It's, how can I quickly get what's in my brain into something else?
Yeah.
And so on my phone, I have an iPhone. You can customize the buttons right on the lock screen. I assume you can do that on Android too.
Yep.
Make one of those buttons your task manager or a new note.
Yeah.
Right. Or or get really comfortable talking to your phone. My dad and my mom are both very comfortable at this point talking to their phones. So
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's a social norm that has been changing. I was very like, I'm not talking to my phone in public, and now I'm like, whatever. So I think like thinking about automation doesn't need to be this Rube Goldberg machine. Even though those are the ones that are fun to me that I like to demonstrate. It is about getting information or data from one place to a more permanent place.
Yeah.
I
Usable place.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I love pen and paper. I had a notebook at a conference and I lost that notebook. And I'm like, well, good thing I captured the most crucial tasks on my phone also.
All right. Okay, so we hear a lot of talk these days about virtual assistants or VAs. So give us a thumbnail sketch on your perspective of a virtual assistant.
Yeah, a virtual assistant, there are different levels. But the one that I work with, her name is Anna, and she's based in the Philippines. And if she left my business, I'd probably be lost, right? Because the most important thing to think about when you are delegating is not delegate stuff you can't do. It is delegate the stuff that you shouldn't do. Right? So, for example.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I want.
Yeah,
the for example.
Yes. For example. Something I can't do is graphic design. I hired my friend Holly Arnett to do my new branding. That was a contract thing. It was short-lived. She did it for me and it's done. My VA, something I shouldn't do is publish my own podcast. I don't need to do that. The only things I really need to do for my podcast are reach out to the guests. Some would say I don't even have to do that, but the relationship's really important to me. The relationship is how you get a better conversation. Jim, you know that. We had a pre-call, right? We had a pre-interview. So
exactly.
Reach out to the guests, come up with the outline because only I am going to know the story that I want to tell. And then do the interview or record the episode if it's a solo episode. After that, my editor edits it, my VA, and then once my editor edits it, my VA gets an email saying, hey, this episode's ready for publish.
Right.
And she uploads it to YouTube, to the website, to my podcast host, and to Substack. So, and that is like, I had to do that recently because I thought I had an idea for an episode late and like I did it while I was traveling and I'm like, I'll just do it so I don't have to wait for Anna to do it. It took too long. Like it took me too long to do that. I don't know. I don't have the process down anymore. And I forgot stuff. And I thought this is not the smartest way to spend my time. Because even if it takes you just 10 minutes to hit publish, it is the inertia or the friction of switching context. And then the inertia or friction of switching out of that old context. So like something that takes you 10 minutes probably takes you like a half hour to actually go back to what you were doing. And so like if you think about it, like
off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and context switching is exhausting. I've done it all day today. I just like Tuesdays are my meeting days in the summer because we are not doing summer camp. And so I want to make sure that my schedule is as flexible as possible for when my wife works. And we agreed that like Tuesdays are days that she wouldn't work. And so Tuesdays are my meeting days. And so I am bouncing around all day. I can do that once a week. It's like after this, I'm going to take my daughter to cello and then I'm going to sit in the backyard and I'm going to kind of listen to the All-Star game. Right.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I just timestamped this, but, and that's exhausting. You can't maintain a business like that.
Right.
And so your virtual assistant, maybe this is the simplest way to put it. Your virtual assistant takes away a bunch of contexts that you would otherwise have to switch into.
Yeah. I knew a guy who's a race car driver, and he said, if you don't think that you can just like turn off and turn on, he said, just see how long it takes to stop and change tires. I mean, you're still racing, but you have to stop and change tires and you lose a lap. And
Yeah.
the lap is a lifetime in that world, man. So there's a lot of truth in that. There really is. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I am a Tech Challenge senior, and I can talk into my phone. What's the second best thing for me to automate?
The second best thing for you to automate is the process that takes you the most time. So let me dig into that a little bit. I have a handy acronym that I like to use. I walk my clients through with this. It's called the PER framework, PER. You perform a task, and when you perform it, you document it. You evaluate that task, and then you remove that task from your plate.
Yeah.
And during evaluation is when you ask a set of questions. Do I personally have to do this? 95% of the time, the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
Do I have to publish my podcast? No. Do I personally have to send an email to my guest when the episode is out? No, I personally don't have to do that. It happens, but I don't have to.
Has to be done. Yeah.
It has to be done. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And then when you determine, and the way you determine if you have to do it is, does this require my voice or my brain, right?
Yeah.
Is it something I have to say, or is it something that is within my very specific skill set?
Yeah.
And when you determine no, then you say, can a robot do this? And the way to determine if a robot does this is, are the inputs clear and are the outputs clear? Best example of this, well, actually the best, most common example of this is automatic bill pay, right?
Yeah. Auto pay.
The
man.
inputs
Gotta
are
love
clear.
auto pay.
Yes. The inputs are a date and a number, a price. Yeah. And are the outputs clear? Yes. The output is that number coming out of my bank account on a specific date.
Yeah.
That will never change. Well, it might change, but the powers that be will make sure that changes without you having to do anything about it.
Yeah, you got to make sure the utilities are paid, man. It's so easy.
Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely.
I mean,
When we first bought our house, I was confused because buying a house is confusing to someone who's rented their whole life. And I thought our sewer bill and our water bill were the same. They were the same price. They came from the same company. I paid our sewer bill, didn't pay the water bill, and they just shut off our water.
Well, the good news is you don't need sewer if you don't have water.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So really two birds, right?
However, it does make your wife's day miserable.
It sure does. And we were both annoyed. And and so after that, I turned on bill pay. I asked them, I'm like, don't you warn people first? And they're like, well, yeah, we put a sticker on your door. And I'm like, I didn't get that. And they're like, yeah, it blows away sometimes. And I'm like, it's super weird that you know that and you just don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's wild that you just said that to me.
Like, pick up the phone.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's fascinating to me because I deal with a lot of C-suite level employers. And sometimes they're like, I'm just so busy. I'm just so, and I get so sick of hearing that, because you don't have to be busy. You have to be productive. And so often they pay me a lot of money to tell them to take all the stuff that they really don't like doing, that there's somebody better at, and unload it. And and they're like, wow, I just didn't think anybody else could do that. I'm like, well, it's not really magic, and even you can do it. So, and you're not Superman, just saying. And I think a lot of us could follow that advice.
Yeah, there's very few things on this planet that no one else can do, right? Like, even I love baseball. Let's look at baseball. They say the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball with a bat,
Yeah.
right? About 800 guys can do that, right? Probably 500
Yeah.
can do that well.
And 300
So-
a good curveball.
Yeah, exactly, right? And even then, what's considered good is hitting it 30% of the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like when you think, oh, nobody else can do what I do.
Yeah.
Objectively false.
Yeah.
Right? If 500 guys can do the hardest thing in sports well enough to be considered professional,
right?
Then someone else can do that
before
thing.
the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, where do you find a VA? If you like didn't have a clue and you wanted to go find a virtual assistant, where would you find one?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So it depends on the level of VA, right? I alluded to this earlier, but there are different levels of virtual assistants. Usually when people say virtual assistant, it's like code for somebody from the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. A virtual assistant is somebody who assists you not in your office, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, my friend Jordan, has a company where she has virtual assistants that are more skilled, right? Or there's like the executive assistant that can also be virtual.
Yeah.
My VA is in the Philippines. And you can go to onlinejobs.ph. That's where I found mine.
Mm-hmm.
It is a directory of people in the Philippines looking for work.
Oh,
The
right on.
thing that I would caution here is you're going to post a job and you're going to get possibly thousands
Oh my.
of responses.
Uh-huh.
So the two things that I would recommend you do so that you don't blow up your inbox
Don't give them your
is
perfect email.
either set up a separate email address just for this, or if you're using Gmail or Google Workspace, you can do like a plus. So like my email address is joe@casabona.org. I can do joe plus va@casabona.org.
Yeah.
And then filter that into its own folder so that it's not blowing up my inbox.
Sure.
And the other thing that I would have you do is have 1 or 2 test tasks and find 5 people. So don't go through all of them. Go through until you find 5 good applications and give them those test tasks. And that's how I found my VA. Her application stood out to me because she said, "Hey Joe, I'd really like if you hired me so my mom stops asking me when I'm going to get a real job." And I'm like, that really stood out to me. And then
transparency fosters credibility, bro.
Right. And I'm like, that's really funny. I'm like, maybe it's that's a thing that transcends culture and borders, but I thought it was funny. And then
make mama happy.
Yes. And then she did well on the test tasks, right? And there are some growing pains. You got to understand the type of VA you're hiring and how you're going to delegate, but it's worked out extraordinarily well for me.
Oh, good. Okay. So we're going to talk podcasting a minute. You're 500 episodes in. Tell the folks here about your podcast.
My podcast is called The Streamlined Solopreneur. It wasn't always called that. It was originally called How I Built It. And some eagle-eared listeners will say, wait, there's another show that sounds a lot like that. It's called How I Built This by Guy Raz. And I will just say I launched in July 2016 and Guy Raz launched in October 2016.
Okay.
So like, I'm just saying I was there first, but I decided after I stopped talking to web developers, after I stopped asking the title question, how did you build that? I would let NPR have the title. So I rebranded about a year or so ago. And today I talked to the same exact people I mentioned at the top of the show, busy solopreneur parents who are looking to save time in their business with better business processes.
Right on. Okay. So, why do you find it a compelling need for podcasters to be good storytellers?
That's a really good question. Okay, so there's like the traditional answer I would give to this, and maybe the new post AI world answer I would give to this. So originally it was, there's so much entertainment out there, right?
Oh yeah.
The CEO of Netflix famously said, other streaming services are not our competition. Sleep is our competition, which is to say everyone's vying for our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't grab the listener, they can easily move on, like more easily than ever, move on to the next thing. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe a 10-second swipe.
Yeah. Right? And like there's the joke now, like if TikTok gets banned, what am I going to watch while I'm watching a movie? Right? Yeah. It's like we need to keep people's attention, and the way to do that from the beginning of time, since there were drawings on walls, is stories.
Sure.
So you need to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
That is the pre-AI answer I would give.
Yeah. Capture the attention.
Yes. The post-AI answer I would give is, if I just want information regurgitated at me, it's also easier than ever to get that. Right? I was I was having a conversation with ChatGPT the last time my wife and I try to do porch night like once a week, where she'll have a glass of wine, I'll have a cigar, and we'll just usually enjoy the silence. Like we don't feel like we need to talk to each other, but all of our kids are asleep, and this is the first time we're hearing quiet.
Yeah.
But I was on some baseball bender, and I was trying to remember a bunch of stuff, and so I was basically talking to ChatGPT, confirming my knowledge, which is a thing I love to do.
Yeah.
And so like if I just want information, you can get that by yelling at your phone now. So what we as people need to offer has to be more than just the regurgitation of information. Yeah. It needs to be framing and stories for the people that we help, to help them understand and process that information in a way that works best for their brain.
Yeah. The number one search term for 2024 in Google was authentic. You think about that for a while, and you go, people are actually searching for authenticity. And if you have a story that relates to something that looks like a solution for them, when I get up on the stage, man, it's just an opportunity to tell them, here's what happened, here's the effect it had on me, here's how it could help you, and here's how you do it. And if you can do that and put it in a context where they go, oh, man, maybe I could do that too, it's powerful. It really is.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons that I help parents specifically is, I think we chatted about this, or you've probably come across it, but like I had a panic attack in 2020 because my wife's a nurse and she was working, and we had 2 small kids. And so I had to run my business and do the stay-at-home dad thing a lot more than I was used to.
Yeah.
And it all came to a head one day. And I hesitated for a while. I'm like, should I tell this story? And my friend Alex Sanfilippo, I think the guy who owns the platform where we were connected.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, this is a real story. Like you need to tell it.
Yeah.
And I was worried that I would cry on stage, and I'm an emotional Italian, so I cry a lot, but I don't like crying in front of people. And I was like, gotta let it happen.
Yeah. But then you can hit him too, because you're Italian.
That's right. Usually I make the very emotional I'm Italian joke.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the last time I told that story, I didn't cry during the panic attack story. I cried at the end when I told the thrilling conclusion, which was thanks to all the systems I put in place. I took 6 weeks off when our youngest was born.
Yeah.
And I'm like, woo, that one was unexpected. I was so worried about crying at the beginning that it didn't even occur to me at the end.
Right on. So, one of the things that we talk about in the podcasting thing is the why. What is it about podcasting that grabbed a hold of you?
I did drama club in high school. I'm an extrovert. I don't know if you could tell. It's pretty obvious. I think when people are with me for like 3 seconds or less. And one of the drawbacks of being a solopreneur and working from home is that you can feel isolated. And the thing that I loved about podcasting was it gave me the opportunity to connect with people while working from home and to tell stories while working from home. And so like, it really pushes a lot of buttons for me. It gives me the opportunity to tell stories and entertain, which is something I've done since second grade. And it gives me the opportunity to flex my extrovert muscles a little bit more than I probably would get to otherwise.
Nice. I also find that like versus a Zoom meeting where you've got 20 people, or a virtual training where you've got 40 people, 50 people on a screen, and you've got to like shut everybody down and give your presentation. And the long form podcast has opened the door for people to virtually have a conversation, open up with one another, and get real, because it is a conversation that's being had in front of the whole world, but it doesn't feel like that when we're doing it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, man, with a Zoom call, it's real easy. I've got 2 screens here. It's real easy to kind of drift, especially if there's like a bunch of people and you're not involved in talking. But like during a podcast interview, especially when video's on, you've got like, I mean, you probably noticed that I got a little distracted for a minute, right? But like, I was looking up the name of my friend Jordan's company. Like it was going to kill me if I didn't remember it. But you have to pay attention, right? You have to keep, because you need to be able to ask good follow-up questions. And as the guest, you need to be able to this is your opportunity to get in front of new people and convince people that your worldview is at least worth considering.
Yeah. You can't go, I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're muted. Are you muted? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Can you see my screen? Muted.
Can everybody hear me now? Oh, wow. So what's the most important task that a podcaster could offload?
Ooh, another great question. Editing.
Like,
let me tell you, my longtime podcast editor was doing video for a while, and he just recently determined that like video editing is not a service he wanted to continue to pursue. And so I had an in-person interview with multi-camera, and I was like, all right, well, tight turnaround. I'm just going to edit this one myself. Oh, what an incredible reminder of how much I hate editing.
Yeah.
And so
we're going to start doing these live now.
yeah. Just like, well, so like, it's really, if you do it right, it's really time consuming. And it is something that lots of people can do better than me.
Yeah.
And so
you're making me really grateful for my editor, man.
My show it either wouldn't happen or it wouldn't happen at the quality that it does.
Yeah.
Cause even like I'll usually edit my solo episodes, because editing my solo episodes is a really light touch. My setup is good. I don't have to combine audio, and it's not scripted, but it is outlined enough that I don't flub a lot of things.
Yeah, start and stop.
And so
put a print on the front and a print on the end.
Yeah, exactly. But like the interviews would not be the same quality.
Yeah.
if I edit them, because like combining and lining up and leveling everything and like I require headphones and a decent mic, but I don't always get that.
Yeah.
Headphones I always get. I say I'm not recording with you if you don't have headphones. It's like less important in 2025 than it was when I started in 2016, but it's still really important to me because headphones
audio quality
means, right? Like Riverside has echo cancellation, but that means Riverside is changing the audio somehow. And I want the unfiltered, pure, raw audio because that's going to be the best quality.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me.
Got it. Cool. So we're going to have to land this airplane. So one of the questions that I always bring up to people is that you've lived a big life. And there is someone who is so influential, who's had such a substantial impact in your world that you just got to give them props right now. They affected your journey in such a significant way. You got to go, hey, this is my champion. Who is that?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my dad, because my dad, even though he didn't understand what I was doing, going out on my own, starting a business, not having a 401k or a pension or health insurance, still supported me and actually invested in the business. Right. So I got to mention my dad. As far as business advice goes, I got to give a shout out to, I'm a New York Italian, so I am a bit of a stereotype. I used to work at a deli, obviously. And my boss, Mr. Rizzi, Joe Rizzi, actually, on Saturdays, school was in session. We closed at 3, and then we would clean up because we were closed on Sundays. And so we would wipe down the whole place. It was me, my friend Amy, and Mr. Rizzi. And Mr. Rizzi would just give me business advice better than any textbook, right?
Very cool.
Because we would talk about things that happened that day or that week. And he would give me the confidence and the knowledge I needed to successfully launch my own business.
Right on. Well, props to you, Joe Rizzi, and to Dad. And Grampian Nation, let's say a thank you to Joe Casabona for coming on the Grampian. And let's see what we always close with is, hey, you keep dreaming those Grampian-sized dreams. And until we meet again, this is Jim, and I am out. When you get an opportunity, subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast. Hey folks, it's obvious that some of you actually do not like to read, and the reason I know that is because we are now the #1 new release on Audible. So if you don't want to read it, like go through the pages, then get on Audible and get yourself a copy. Building Men, Character Lessons from Influencers. Thanks.